Reporter Taylor Lorenz wrote a story in the Washington Post where she investigated the account Libs of TikTok, which is in the business of essentially widely publicizing social media posts by gay and LGBTQ, queer, trans teachers.
And calling them mentally ill and saying they should be fired.
Saying they're groomers. And in some cases, according to Taylor's reporting, working with government officials in Florida, part of DeSantis's team, to make that happen. So this account is in the business of trying to make teachers lose their jobs based on their sexual orientation. And
I would say is actually contributing to an environment that might lead to even worse consequences than firing for teachers in the form of actual violence.
Yes.
Because he's calling these people groomers and mentally ill, and that is saying it's dangerous for them to be in charge of your children.
Right, exactly. And yet the free speech warriors like Glenn Greenwald and Tucker Carlson.
Greenwald's had a total conniption over this.
Are having a conniption, yeah. I mean, by the way, I thought that they were all up in arms about people losing their jobs over not getting vaccinated, but they seem to be fine with gay teachers losing their jobs for their sexual orientation. And the fact that this account, the holder of this account, was named in the article, which was easily accessible. And I believe she hung up on Taylor Lorenz when Taylor was trying to get her to comment on this. So she had the opportunity to respond, but chose not to. And apparently this is the free speech crisis of the modern era, according to Tucker and Greenwald and others.
Why hasn't Taylor Lorenz at the very least registered under the Foreign Agent Registration Act, FARA? We seem to remember quite a bit of talk about this over the last years. We think there was an impeachment trial over it. Someone went to prison because of it. But Taylor Lorenz can take information from a foreign government to crush an American citizen, clearly as part of an intel operation. And she's a journalist in good standing at the Jeff Bezos' news.
I don't know what he's talking about.
He's so like bathed in irony and grievance that, yeah, it's like, what do you want then? Like, do you think this fair stuff is bullshit, or do you think your only problem is the hypocrisy of it? I mean, he says, yeah, let's keep it playing.
Newspaper? Lots of questions here. We hope we can get to the bottom of all of them. We're going to start tonight by talking to the creator of Libs of TikTok, who joins us right now by phone. And we appreciate your coming on. So I just have to ask, because I'm really interested, why do you suppose the German government wanted to shut down your Twitter feed?
Well, I think that what I'm doing is very effective. And I think that a lot of people wanted to shut me down. They wanted to intimidate me into silence. And unfortunately for them, that's just never going to happen.
Well, I'm grateful to hear.
I should just note she is not on video. I'm sure she could have been, but she doesn't want to be on, so she's still going to stay anonymous.
Ah, interesting.
Hear that you're not intimidated. Were you a little surprised to see, of all people, Taylor Lorenz, who complained bitterly when we used her name on the air several months ago, who whined and cried on television because she had PTSD because people were criticizing her online? Were you surprised that it was her who came after you personally and tried to destroy your life?
Yeah, I thought that was really humorous. It added a really nice layer of humor on top of the whole story.
You sound like you're laughing.
And I think that the fact that it was Taylor Lorenz, who is a known, hypocrite, and she is known to dox people, the fact that it was her that was doing all this, I think it just helps people rally with support for me.
Brilliant interview.
Have you noticed? I mean, I know you're not a psychiatrist, or perhaps you are. I don't know who you are. But are you surprised?
She's a real estate broker.
She is, yes. And frankly, she's a conservative, religious, Orthodox Jew here in Brooklyn who, I mean, is clearly some sort of like theocrat, and that's why she's against gay people like this. And that's what that's the free speech that's being protected here.
Well, I mean, yeah,
but it's not free speech. That's the point.
No, I mean, it's pro bono work for right-wing messaging,
yes.
Which is what,
she's getting
how Glenn Greenwald got his start. So he loves to dive in for that stuff.
And there is an update to this story that it seems like she was getting payment from the Babylon Bee, among other right-wing publications. So apparently it's doxing that it is revealed in a news article that you are being paid by a right-wing media organization to do right-wing media.
I mean, maybe Glenn can give her a spot on the Substack.
And by the way, I tried to just investigate what he's talking about with this German payment to her. He's making a massive logical leap because the German government decided to shut down this account. It must mean
because it's a hate account.
Right.
I'm sorry. Fuck this account. It should be shut down. It's posted people's TikToks to a bunch of bigots and saying this person is mentally ill. Yeah, I wouldn't have that on my social media account either. And I think it's disgraceful, all the people that are thrown in for.
Yeah. And by the way, okay, no, just keep going, actually.
Psychiatrist, or perhaps you are. I don't know who you are. But are you surprised that the people who are the most deeply enmeshed in narcissism, who talk about themselves the most, are also capable of the greatest cruelty? Have you noticed that trend?
Yes, I've noticed that a lot. I've noticed it with a lot of TikToks as well. I think it's a little bit of a trend on the left.
Yeah. I obsess over myself, so I'm willing to hurt you. So what's your status since we have you on the phone? How are you doing tonight? You don't need to tell us where you are, but how has this affected your life?
Don't tell us where you are.
Well, the past 2 days have been very chaotic and overwhelming. I had to make some travel plans, really fast, but I was not planning on earlier. So there was a little bit of coordination that had to happen. And I'm now in a location where I don't think anyone would find me, not in any of the locations that Taylor Lorenz leaked or that anyone
She didn't do
find.
that. She did not do that. Pause it. I'm sorry. What locations is she referring to?
Yeah, what exactly, like, we found out who you are, you freak. That's all we wanted to know. Like, I don't know what do you think people are doing? Like, they want to find out more about you. Like Sagar and Jetty saying, there's an actual really interesting question to be asked about here about how this person
they've weighed in on that too?
About how, of course. Because of how this person caught on so much. The person caught on so much because they're doing bigotry to bigots. I don't know what else. Maybe Sagar, dude, let's see it on whatever your show is called now. Do 10 minutes on what's so interesting. Why don't you do the story rather than asking Taylor Lorenz to do it? Because frankly, I'm more interested in just finding out what this person's name is and what they do.
And I just want to clarify my point earlier, because this is now from a Daily Beast article about the German claim. In the piece, the reporter makes note of findings from software developer Travis Brown that helped her reveal the account's creator, the Chai Reichik. Specifically, Brown uncovered deleted tweets from the account, including those in which Reichik claimed she attended the January 6th Capitol riot. Brown, Lorenz notes, received support from the German-based Prototype Fund. The fund, according to its website, supports ideas in civic tech, data literacy, with money from Germany's Federal Ministry of Education and Research. So these are the kinds of logical corruption leaps that Greenwald will make all these ties together, and now Tucker Carlson, of course, has perfected that. Because Lorenz worked with a software developer to help source her story, she is getting paid by the German government and needs to register as a foreign agent. Just ridiculous garbage.
Yeah, just bullshit.
It's been a little bit tough, but I'm not going to let this get me down.
Well, I hope we see you in our studio someday. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, God.
I mean, there's not really much more to add to that.
No, other than I'll just reiterate that I'm glad that it's been overwhelming for her, and hope this continues to be a very, very unpleasant experience for her. And I would just applaud Tucker and Glenn Greenwald and all these other freaks for continuing to disgrace themselves by falling over their dicks trying to defend her.